Welcome back to LSMN Overtime. The final episode of the season is here in the newly named Studio 544. We've got one more full slate of highlights and stories from around the district. I'm Alex Estrada. Let's get started with baseball as the playoffs are right around the corner. The Mound Showdown series continued on Friday between Marcus and Flower Mound. Jags put pitcher Tyler Cochran on the bump against the Marauders. Cochran had a solid start early but got into trouble in the fourth inning as multiple Marcus hits would bring in the game's first run. Ryan San Miguel would successfully execute the sacrifice bunt to make it 2-0 Marcus. The Marauders would nearly get another run, but great defense from the Jaguars would keep the score at 2-0. In the bottom of the inning, Trent Juarez and Roman Stevens would reach base, and a wild pitch would get the Jaguars on the board 2-1. Following the first run, a great bunt from Jake Mayer would tie the game at 2 each. Jags weren't done, however, as this single would put them in front 3-2. They looked to add on more, but a brilliant double play by Marcus prevented the Jags from getting more. Some poor defense from Flower Mound gave the Marauders their third run to tie the game. Jamison Mayfield would then drive in the go-ahead run to give the lead back to Marcus 4-3. Reliever Logan Richards would come in for the Jags and put out the fire to strand the Marcus base runners in a clutch spot. Frank May would then start the bottom of the sixth with a leadoff single for the Jags. Jackson Sarter would tie the game with his clutch double into the gap, knotting the score at 4. And who else but Cooper Skinner, who's been on the varsity team all 4 years of his career, to drive in the go-ahead run, scoring Sarter and giving Flower Mound the lead late in the game. Sarter stuck with Logan Richards, who hit the first batter but would have no problem closing it out, securing a heart-pounding Mound Showdown sweep for the Jags with a final score of 5-4. Braswell visited Hebron High School on Tuesday. Hebron center fielder Casey McGinnis got to show his glove earlier with this spectacular catch to take a hit away. Soon after, the Hawks would get a rally going, putting 2 runners into scoring position. Dylan Dunn would deliver, hitting a single past third base to drive in the base runners, giving the Hawks an early 2-0 lead. Hebron then tacked on another run to make it 3-0 before Braswell was finally able to get the third out. Braswell seemed to have a rally going in the next inning, but a poor bunt would put a stop to that, leading to an easy out at third for Hebron. From then on, the game turned into a pitcher's duel. Hebron's starting pitcher, Cooper Williams, was phenomenal, throwing deep into the game and recording tons of strikeouts throughout the night. Williams ran into trouble in the 7th, however, as Braswell would score 2 massive runs to make it a 1-run game. In the final inning, in the tying run on third, a Braswell player hit a drive to right field, but it was caught to secure the win for the Hebron Hawks with a final score of 3-2. Every episode, we pick one athlete who has stood out in the last couple weeks. Here's Spotlight with Aiden McGee in the Star Studio.
This week's LSMN Spotlight is the Colony star pitcher Trey Rangel. Rangel has put together a season for the ages, posting a 6-1 record with an incredible .41 ERA. In just 34 innings, he's also racked up 63 strikeouts, making him one of the toughest pitchers to face in the nation. Trey also impressed last summer with Team USA's U18 national team, where he struck out 6 batters in 3 hitless relief frames versus Germany. Rangel is currently committed to the University of Texas and is also expected to be an early round draft pick in this year's MLB draft. With the talent Rangel has, it isn't out of the question that we could see him in MLB very soon. That's all for this week's Spotlight. Now let's head back over to the stand-up desk with Alex Estrada for this week's baseball recap and preview.
Looking back at other baseball games around the district, the Colony shut out Turner in a 6-0 game, picking up their 19th win of their already very strong season. Hebron decimated Lewisville 8-0, dropping Lewisville below 500 and bumping Hebron to a district-leading 20-6 record. Looking ahead at the upcoming games, Marcus will face Little Elm, Hebron takes on Braswell, Flower Mound goes against Coppell, Lewisville has this week off but will face Little Elm on the 21st, and finally the Colony will travel over to Wakeland. On this show, we usually focus on how athletes train, compete, and the bonds that bring teams together. But this week's story goes a little deeper. It's about an athlete whose journey almost never had the chance to begin if not for the doctors who made it possible. Here's Luke Dallas with more.
Carter Nichols is a hurdler for the Hebron track team who holds a very inspiring story. Carter was born with a rare but very serious heart condition.
I think it's technically a strain of blue baby syndrome. So the surgery I had was a transposition of the great arteries. Basically, my aorta, artery, and pulmonary were flipped. So I wasn't getting enough blood flow, and those are the 2 major arteries to your heart. So I wasn't getting enough oxygen. So when I came out the womb, I was a little blue.
While the condition does prevent him from certain things, still found a way to enjoy sports.
Well, I can't play half the sports that is available to the school. So I can't play any contact sports, so no football, no basketball, no soccer. I'm kind of just stuck to individual sports. So I already found my thing, so it was okay.
Carter has found inspiration to keep going through running.
I feel like I look up to my dad a lot. He's a big-time runner, and he ran in college a little bit, and I just feel like I want to live up to that and be able to push beyond it. It's just I've always been running, I've always been fast. I just kind of like it.
Despite his condition, he still lives a normal, healthy life, proving doctors wrong.
Well, the doctors first of all said I would never be athletic. They said I'd be slower than all the other kids. I wouldn't be able to breathe. I wouldn't live normal. But I can breathe and I can run and I live normal.
LSMN Overtime, I'm Luke Dallas.
For softball around the district, there were 0 close games, with the Colony putting Creekview down 16-4, Flower Mound going 14-4 in their matchup against Coppell. Hebron would not allow any runs, going 6-0 versus Braswell, and Geyer would crush Lewisville 14-0, and lastly, Marcus would put up 11 runs against Lewisville, with the final score being 11-3. But looking ahead for softball around the district, the Colony will go against Lone Star, Flower Mound and Hebron face off in a tense district matchup, Lewisville and Little Elm face off against each other, and Marcus will travel to Coppell. So once again, time to head over to our Star studio and focus on sports outside LSD for a minute. Here's Luke Dallas with this week's edition of Major League Minute.
Masters took place this past weekend with Roy McIlroy looking to defend his title, and early on, it looked like he might run away with it. After a solid opening round on Thursday, McIlroy took complete control on Friday, building a 6-stroke lead, the largest in 36-hole lead in Augusta history. But like we've seen before, it didn't stay that simple. McIlroy stumbled on Saturday, and suddenly the door was open. Cameron Young and several others climbed back into contention, while world number 1 Scotty Scheffler made a massive push cutting into the lead by 11 strokes over the final 2 rounds. By Sunday, it had turned into a battle, but in the end, McIlroy did just enough, holding on to win his 2nd straight Masters by a single stroke over Scheffler, becoming the 4th player ever to go back-to-back at Augusta. The MLB season is in full swing. The Dodgers hold the top record in the league, which, with their payroll, is no surprise. The Rangers aren't off to the hottest starts and have been rather up and down like a roller coaster. But hopefully their record can improve if the bats heat up. Over in the NHL, the playoffs start on Saturday, with the Stars looking to make it to the Western Conference Final in the 4th straight year. But this time, to get over that hump and into the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2020. Also, look out for a 1999 Stanley Cup Final rematch, as the Buffalo Sabres are back in the playoffs for the first time in 14 years and are one of the top seeds in the East. In the NFL, the draft is a week away, and we all know the first pick will be a quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. But questions remain for a lot of other teams, including the Cowboys, who have 2 first-round picks, 12th and 20th, and many expect them to draft defense, as they were one of the worst defenses last year after inexplicably trading superstar Micah Parsons away. That's all for this week's Major League Minute. If you want to hear more about sports outside LISD, check out our podcast, The Press Box, here on our YouTube page. Now over to Aiden McGee on the other side of the Star Studio with this week's Grad Star.
It's been a big bounce-back year for Aggie baseball, and a big part of that has been their superstar junior, Caden Sorrell. Sorrell, a former Marcus Marauder, has gotten better every season at College Station. He made an immediate impact as a freshman, posting a .924 OPS with 11 home runs. But in his sophomore year, he took it to another level, breaking out with a 1,219 OPS and 12 home runs, all while playing in 36 fewer games than he did as a freshman. Now in his junior season, Sorrell has been out of this world. Through just 33 games, he's already launched 17 home runs, driven in 57 RBIs, and posted a 1,321 OPS. Sorrell is currently projected as a top 10 pick in the MLB draft. With his experience, it may not be long before he's facing big league pitching. That wraps up our final Grad Star of Season 6. If you want to see your favorite LISD alumni featured next year, let us know on X or Instagram. Now let's send it back over to the press box set in Studio 544 with Alex.
With this year coming to an end, it's important to look at the seniors who are moving on with the next chapter of their life.
"4 years, 4 seasons, 1,461 days. Yet it still feels too soon. It felt like yesterday I was walking into the locker room, putting on my jersey, and walking out onto the field for the first time. Only thing on my mind was making my younger self proud. The little kid that went to all the games and watched the local heroes shine under the brightest of lights, hoping that one day that could be me. That one day I would leave my mark on my school's history. So many highs, even more lows. All these memories blend together to create a blur of growth and experience, not just as a player, but as a person. Challenges and hardships formed and molded me into the human that I am now. On my worst days, it felt like this would never end. And now we're finally here. And all I could ever want is to go back, to reset and do it all again. Could I have done better? Would anything have changed? Everyone hangs up the cleats eventually, but when will that come for me? Every 5 a.m. workout? Every weekday game with a test next morning? Was it all worth it? There's no answer to that now, but if anything is certain, this sport shaped who I am now. This school shaped who I am now. These last 4 years, 4 seasons, 1,461 days, shaped who I am now. And now, I turn the page to the next chapter of my life. The clock resets, and we start anew.
Here's Mr. Beals with a special announcement.
Every year, things change. New students step in, others move on. But the work they put in here in the program stays. This year's senior class deserves their flowers. Lucas Ballas, known as Luke Dallas here on LSMN, didn't take long to find his place. In just 2 semesters in the class, he developed a style and made an impact, now heading off to Collin College to continue in AV production. Miguel Cruz spent 3 semesters constantly producing and improving upon his work. He's on his way to the University of Texas at San Antonio with plans to eventually attend the University of Texas at Austin and study radio, television, and film. For Aiden McGee, his time is marked both here by his work that he did and recognition, as he's this year's LEF Continuing Education Scholarship recipient here at Tech East. Look out for him on a college campus in an AV department real soon. And while not a senior, Alex Estrada wraps up his time here as he's already committed to graduating early in the fall. After 3 semesters in the program, he leaves with a strong experience and a strong foundation for whatever comes next. Just as in the past, these students have helped shape the program for what it is today, keeping it fresh and ready to evolve again for next year's seniors. I once again want to say thank you to them for all of their hard work. And now back over to Alex for one last time.
Well, that's all for Season 6 of LSMN Overtime. For everyone here at LSMN, I'm Alex Estrada. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you right here next year on LSMN Overtime. That's it.